wee doggies, especially at Christmas time. If you're cold, they're cold, right? Bring the pets in. Have we remembered to bring all the pets in?
That's a good point. Why, look, Arizona's joined us, Kathy's joined us, and we have lots of folks on the radio. And greetings to everyone that may be watching this on YouTube later. Happy holidays!
Yes, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, happy Christmas.
Oh, Katie has joined us from Germany. Oh,
yes.
Alexandria is joining us.
We got a full house for church with a All right.
Oh, we're so happy to be here.
We have, this is the next time you see us, it'll be the day after Christmas.
That's right. So we're actually going to be in Vermont next weekend.
What are the odds?
But we're going to create a very special holiday day after Christmas show for
your viewing pleasure.
Yes, because we'll be driving home that day and we won't be able to broadcast from the car.
Or you will not want us to be broadcasting from the car.
we have done it.
But, driving down, I-90, I-90 and such. It would be quite a different show. It really would.
It really would.
We would require more of your prayers, maybe.
Isn't driving fun?
I know it is.
Oh goodness! But we're really, really happy to be here and share the holiday spirit with everybody. We've got some lovely things to share and some lovely songs. We're gonna do most of our especially holiday themed songs next week. But today I want to emphasize love and light.
I know it is.
And the return of the light. And I really enjoyed the homily this morning. For those that haven't joined us before in the homily, it's at 11 a.m. Eastern time. 10:15 a.m. Eastern time here in the sanctuary. And today Reverend Christy was really on target. She was sharing just a little bit about her experience from being in the releasing the I Am Bad belief.
And we're going to talk about that as a habit and a mindset.
Yes,
today.
It was
as kind of like the way we live from a like default perspective. That's what the lesson is today, because chapter 31, the last chapter in the book, is about spiritual practice. It's about our daily spiritual practice and what we build all the foundations on. And she talks a lot about in this chapter about choices that we make and the consequences of the choices that we make because of our foundational beliefs. And at Christmas and the New Year's is a good time to examine the foundations of our beliefs. What happened this year? What did we see? What did we learn? And the funnest thing about it is, how did we learn? Do you remember what happened and how you learned and the process? There was a body component, there was a mind component, there's a community component.
Yes.
There's an inner wisdom component.
Yes.
So thinking about putting all these things together as a reliable method for awakening. That's what we do together in Awakening Together.
Which indeed we do. Like this whole year has been a deep dive for us, and we always want to tell you how grateful we are for Awakening Together community. And I personally did attend the Releasing the I Am Bad Belief retreat, and many things and techniques were given to us. One was interviewing the ego, which was really interesting.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever interviewed your ego?
I did in this exercise in the retreat, and I'm going to keep doing it because it really brought up some things that I was holding on to. Yeah, it was an interesting interview. What Reverend Jacqueline reminded me of, and I may have mentioned this before, but she brought us to a particular lesson in A Course in Miracles, which talked about the ego and the range of the ego. And here's the range from suspiciousness to viciousness. And I was like, yeah. So, and you don't just do this one time and it's done. I don't think, things come up as you move along in your life. But I certainly found a particular incident in that retreat that continued to make me believe I am bad. And it's concerning the way I present myself and everything. And so as I released that, I have gained a whole new enthusiasm for my wigs and my makeup and my the way I love to dress and present, and it makes me feel so happy and so free. Even today, when I was getting dressed, there was this little voice going, la 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 la.
Too big.
Yeah. Too much hair,
too
much over the top. And I was like, no, I really like it.
I know. So I said, all right, I'll wear a tie. I will wear an actual tie. I used to run a boutique practice in New York City, and I dressed up in like cufflinks and ties and everything, and jackets every day to meet the clientele. So I haven't worn a tie in 3 years.
How about that? So here we go. We got dressed up for y'all today.
I know.
Well, it's Sunday.
Yeah,
Sundays are a big day for us.
And the big impact this year, especially for us, is this narrowing of our lives that happens with COVID. Right? Our lives have been kind of narrowed to a little more interior routines, maybe, and less physical socializing and things like that. So so we had a retreat or a little satsang with Regina
this weekend,
this past weekend.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday.
And
wow, that was impactful.
So I'll share a little bit more later, just a little bit of a teaser about a really wonderful breakthrough I had about the I am bad belief, what it has to do with learning a spiritual practice, and how we can set in place ways to reminders to capture that bad belief. It's like when it comes, we recognize it easier and easier and easier, so we can capture. It's like, oh, I'm onto that. Yeah. How we normalize being onto the bad belief. How subtle it is.
I know that was my experience today. I really caught myself going down that rabbit hole and was like,
I know that voice.
I know what's happening here. And I actually started laughing at it.
Never mind.
So we have one of our favorite sing-along songs to share with you. But before we do that, we want to read today's lesson because this is one of the lessons that inspired this song. So,
lesson
353. And when I read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, lesson 353 says, my eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet today have but one purpose: to be given Christ to use to bless the world with miracles.
To bless the world with miracles. All this is used to bless the world with miracles.
And, using the word Christ is, of course, our own personal divine inner nature. Christ in us, that divinity.
And Christ is the Greek word for anointed. So what is holy. It's what is holy, what is divine within it.
Oh, go back. I want to read the prayer because it's really beautiful. Father, I give all that is mine today to Christ to use in any way that best will serve the purpose that I share with him. Nothing is mine alone, for he and I have joined in purpose. That divine that I am, that is me shining through this vehicle called Reverend Yolanda. I have joined in purpose with that divinity. Thus has learning come almost to its appointed end.
Almost.
A while I work with him to serve his purpose, then I lose myself in my identity, capital I, and recognize that Christ is but myself.
Lose myself in my identity.
Man,
that's kind of cool.
I love it.
Have you ever lost yourself?
Well, yeah.
I've lost myself in music.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Lost myself in nature. Like I've been walking through the woods, So what happens when you lose yourself? Doesn't it also feel like gaining yourself?
It does. It's
like something expansion happens. It's like, oh, I'm not tiny and little and I'm actually expansive and aware.
And look at this. I'm losing myself right now in this beautiful view from Alexandria's window. It's absolutely gorgeous. I know. Look at that.
I know.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I know. It's really nice. Ladies and gentlemen, New York
Oh,
City.
look. Oh, it's so nice. Thanks for sharing.
No, I appreciate it.
Oh, the crystal
Bells.
ball.
Bells and bowls. Okay.
So now we're gonna sing I Think You Might Know.
I know. So what if the line is my hands, my feet, I will use for, what do you think we're going to sing? It's got hand motions.
It's got hand motions.
You might
All
know
right.
this one.
You can do it.
Follow along.
A 1, 2, 3, 4. My heart, my soul, my mind, my strength.
My heart, my soul, my mind, my strength.
My hands, my feet, my everything.
My hands, my feet, my everything.
My heart, my soul, my mind, my strength.
My heart, my soul, my mind, my strength.
My hands, my feet, my everything.
My hands, my feet, my everything.
I give to Holy Spirit to bring miracles and blessings.
Lay down the gift to Holy Spirit to bring miracles and blessings.
When I let go of grievances,
Drop it like a hot potato.
a little bit of willingness to
Accept forgiveness and we are free.
Yeah.
Let go.
of grievances, just a little bit of willingness to accept forgiveness.
We are free.
Yeah.
Second verse.
Miracles will come to me.
What are miracles? Jazz hands.
Will come to me when I forgive the world.
When I forgive the world,
Miracles will come to me.
miracles will come to me.
When I forgive the world.
When I forgive the world, when I let
Go
go.
of grievances, just
A little bit of willingness to accept.
forgiveness, and
We are free.
yeah.
Let
Go
go.
of grievances,
Just a little bit of willingness to accept.
forgiveness.
We are free.
To the bridge.
We are free. We are free. Let
Go
go.
of grievances, and
We are free. We are free. We are free. Let
go
go.
of grievances, and
We are free. All the way from the top. Let's do it.
a 1, 2, ready, and
My heart, my soul, my mind, my strength, my hands, my feet, my everything.
I give to Holy Spirit to bring miracles and blessings.
Miracles will come to me when I forgive the world. Miracles will come to me when I forgive the world. When I let go of grievances, just a little bit of willingness to accept forgiveness. We are free.
Yeah.
Let
Go
go.
of grievances,
Just a little bit of willingness to accept.
forgiveness, and
We are free.
to the bridge.
We are free. We are free. Let
Go
go.
of grievances, and
We are free. We are free. We are free. Let go of grievances and we are free. Break those chains.
yeah.
We are free. Yay! I love to see all the hand motions in the room. We're learning it, aren't we? We're getting it through.
It's so much fun to do all that.
Right? Exactly.
Oh goodness, that was fun.
Thank you.
Thank
Everything I place all my faculties, my body, all my services
A mini workout sinus.
in in the service of the awakening of myself and others.
Yeah.
That's the Bodhisattva vow. I will use all the things within me to awaken all things in service to what is awakening in me and what is awakening in the world. And that's actually the blessing I use for most of the food that I eat. I say, may this meal only be used for my own enlightenment and the enlightenment of the world, to relieve the suffering of myself and the suffering of others. I will use this energy and transform it into the transformational energy for myself and the world.
Oh my gosh,
The prayer that's what I pray over food.
See, and that's lovely. Like, we have a whole bunch to share about food. We're going to share that next week too. Because...
And I just listened to a lecture on Andrew Harvey and the ethics of food preparation and things like that. The female arts and women's arts and taking care of caring arts and serving arts and things like that.
And blessing food. Many times I come on here and I like to share with you what I've
eaten.
cooked for the day. And today is no exception. We had a wonderful Sunday dinner with mashed potatoes and chicken and all kinds of stuff. I can't even remember. Vegetable casserole.
Well, she did one thing that was really
cornbread.
Of course, we had cornbread because it's Brooklyn, Alabama,
and we're Southerners.
We're Southerners. We
here
are
in Brooklyn.
And Yolanda made one of my favorite things: sardines and green beans. Have you ever had that?
I've never had that.
Sautéed sardines and green beans.
It's really good. I know it sounds weird.
It's very, very good.
It's very good.
It's really good. It's mixed reactions in the crowd, ladies and gentlemen. We've got mixed reactions.
It's quite good if you like sardines. But anyway, all that to say that this is a special time, holidays, and we cook our special dishes.
The things we love.
All of that is so meaningful and, carries a lot of tradition and joy and everything.
My mother's Christmas box came this week.
Yes, his mother makes amazing Christmas cookies and fruitcake, and we got a big box over here that he's
I'm not going to show it to you because it's nearly destroyed. Because I've been working out of this, ripping through this box. It's lovely. It's lovely. It's wonderful. The traditions and the tastes that we have and that we grew up with. There's so much involved with senses, sensory organs, and our memories of feeling safe and secure and loved and seen often.
Often, yeah. I really, really wanted to talk about that because, again, we're celebrating the return of the light and during this time in the Northern Hemisphere. And, last night, we're experiencing a full moon. Let me see if I can see it. Can you see it, Alexandria? I believe.
No.
Yeah, it's shining down over here. We have a good view of it. And that's so powerful, especially during this time. So I like to think and remember that even in the darkness, there's always light, So with that thought, I'm going to ring our bell and we'll go into a little meditation and into my song, Love and Light. So here we go. Today, as we gather in this Awakening Together sanctuary with friends from all over the world tuning in with us right now, it is so glorious and so wonderful to connect with each and every one of you, knowing that we are co-creating a circle of love that encompasses our globe. And this circle of love includes everything that we like and everything that we do not like. And it all teaches us who we are. It leads us back to who we are. So today we joyfully include and we learn and we grow from everything that we like and everything that we do not like. And remember that even in the darkness, there is light. Blessed be.
Oh, how about singing about love and light with a cover charge and a 2-drink minimum?
I'm living in love and light. Yes, I am. I'm in love and light. Yes, I am. I'm living in the truth that love has healed my life, because I'm talking about, yes, I am talking about, I'm talking about love. I'm living in love and light. Yes, I am. Well, I'm living in the truth that love has healed my life, because I'm talking about, yes, I'm talking about, I'm talking about love, love and light. I'm just gonna preach a little now. I know how it is every now and then. You just get out there in the world and you feel like you're all alone. But let me tell you something. There's nothing to fear, because you are not alone. Just look deep inside yourself. Are you breathing? I ask you, are you breathing? Okay then, God is with you. There's nothing to fear. Just step out that door and walk into the world, and you're living in the truth that love has healed your life, because I'm talking about, yes, I'm talking about, I'm talking about love.
I know.
Wow, a lot of
I know.
old pictures.
Oh, that's true. That's true. There's an Easter egg in that video.
I know it's funny. Well, it's like, interesting to see how, we've grown and changed over the years.
Oh, I know.
And
She
still...
looks so young in those videos.
I'm still a baby.
You look at the old stuff and he goes, "My God, was I ever that young?"
It was so much fun. But, I just wanted to see if we should chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. We're good. Wow. Thank you for going down that little trip with me. I really, really enjoyed sharing that with you.
Yeah,
so.
that's just like that's how we got the church with the 2-drink minimum.
Yeah, exactly. It's from that
singing
show.
about love and light,
Singing about love
with
and
a
light.
cover charge and a 2-drink minimum.
Yeah, that was
That's
our
how kind of people got.
Yeah, that was our show down.
Kind of got it started. And one of the reasons why we enjoy Awakening Together so much is that it values authenticity, authentic expression of spirit.
Yeah.
In a non-dual way, and that's become very, very close to our heart.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're so appreciative of it.
We really are. I'm gonna, you know what I think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see if I can share this screen.
Okay.
Because
this will be interesting.
This is what we're gonna. This is what
Arizona and Alexandria saw this.
Maybe
on
has already seen
Wednesday.
this, but yeah. So, see if I can share this.
Okay.
See if it shows up. Yep.
Okay.
You see that?
Who are those fashionable too?
I know. Those are prison uniforms from Sing Sing Prison. Isn't
Hey,
that
George.
wild? That actually, George, those were actual prisoner uniforms from Sing Sing Prison,
Isn't that funny?
right?
Because they look kind of cool.
Well, I mean, so vintage.
I know.
You know, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's somebody in Williamsburg that's putting something together that like that right now. But this is how we dress other people in prisoner garb. Like we imprison others, we look at them and we put them in prison in our head, right? Or we see ourselves as in prison.
That was mine. That's mine.
Right.
Well, and I do it to other people too.
And
for sure.
very often, this takes. Well, not very often. The course is specific about this. You can't imprison others if you don't have a jailer in your head. You know, you don't want to restrict others unless you value the restrictions that you mean. If you can't be mean to others until you've been mean to yourself. Right? You can't restrict and conform and beat others up until you've done that to yourself. Right? So thinking about the jailer in our head, right? So how we do that, you know, to ourselves and others. This is chapter 31 is the final vision, right? See, we get from the new beginning to the final vision. The chapter before this is called a new beginning. Chapter 30 is a new beginning, and chapter 31 is the final vision.
Interesting.
Because that's how it could happen, right? There's
Just
a
like
new
that.
beginning. And it's the creative process, as we've talked about in here. We see where we make a decision about where we want to go, what we want. We find out how to accurately look at what is here, and the distance or the tension between those is the obstacles, right? Is the obstacles to peace or the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, right? We learned about these things. And so in section 3 of chapter 31, the final vision, in which she talks a lot about building a personal practice and how to orient ourselves in this personal practice, she calls this the self-accused. And in French, they call that j'accuse. I accuse myself, right? So this is called the self-accused. So that concept of realizing that what we see or want to do or view the world has to have its origins in our own interior practice with our own interior thoughts and minds and things like that. Because the world is only reflecting our beliefs, right? So let's get into it. It's not too long, but it's pretty impactful. Read the first bits I've got highlighted there for you, Yolanda.
Okay, here we go. It starts this way. Only the self-accused condemn. Learn this and learn it well. Whatever form his sins appear to take, it but obscures the fact that you believe them to be yours and therefore meriting a just attack.
Yeah, see, they've earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you've earned it. You've attacked yourself. It's like know that this is about choosing outcomes. Okay, do you see that? Choosing outcomes. What do I want to happen? How do I want to live? What do I want to be true? I'm having a difficult time because I'm seeing the world incorrectly. Suffering and is when we step out of integrity, right? So there is something to learn here. So it's this development, this skill building idea of how we operate our own minds, how we operate and look at, like, what's the ego? Who's speaking, right? That self-inquiry. Who's speaking? Who wants to be happy, right?
Oh, right.
See, this is the habit. This becomes a habit of choosing. And if we don't become conscious of our choices, conscious of how we interact with ourselves and others, we don't have a really ability to change them, right? So so we see temptation, it doesn't escape us, and we respond appropriately. Like Yolanda was saying, "Oh, I recognize this.
Yeah,
I recognize this voice
today.
I'm not going to pay that. I'm not going to pay that. No, never mind.
Yeah.
Because I know the road that leads down.
Yeah.
Or like you're like, I know what kind of cake that bakes. You know. So this is about learning and recognizing our own patterns of temptation, like our own. People sometimes will call it a trigger, or sometimes an awareness of what we tend to think about, right? And our response to it. And she says, this is how you do it. She says, learn this, and she even says, overlearn this.
She says, learn it well.
Learn it well. Overlearn this. That if your our first response often to temptation is to attack.
Yeah.
Because of our misunderstanding about how sin is and how it's constructed. And so this is the dynamic she wants us to understand first, is that the sin I observe in others is always a desire for attack and punishment for myself, right? The sin I observe in others is the sin I attack in myself. What's wrong with others, what I get upset and mad about in others, is something that I've noticed that I reject in myself.
Right.
And she says, if we learn to do this well, we learn to recognize it. She just says, learn to recognize it. Can you see it? And the promise is, if we learn to even see it and just don't act upon it, just don't respond with attack, feel your feelings, have your thing, but don't follow through with that advice to squash or attack or limit, is to hasten our happiness. And she uses the word hastens happiness. If you understood this well, you would be surprised at how it hastens your happiness. And that's only if you want your happiness. Right. You know, it's like, oh, do I want to be happy? Do I?
Or do I want to be right?
I know. Well,
would now be a good? Would you share a little bit?
Sure. You never. So I want to. The part I underlined in the previous is you never hate your brother for his sins, but only for your own. So this brings me to the idea we were doing this song. I was doing this song with Regina, and we were asking about like how am I moving through the world in which I encounter like evil, or encounter really bad behavior, or selfish, mean bully people. Like, what do you do? What am I going to do when I encounter these, mean people? What is my response? Well, I continued to work with that after talking with Regina, and I found out I had a kind of a big happening later that night in which I saw that I had created I created a bully in my own head. But this is the interesting thing for me, because I'm kind of you may have noticed I have an atypical mind. Just a little bit quirky. I stuttered a lot when I was a kid. I've been picked on and bullied like a lot my whole entire life. It's part of something. So what I did as a kid, what I did as a child, this is even pre-verbal. I realized this after talking with Regina. Even this, I created in my head, for my own protection, a bully of my own making, so that I could learn to avoid the bully. Do you see what I mean? So I created the mean guy in my head so that I could recognize the mean guy in the world. And not too long, and so I would compare what I needed to do, or what my responses, and like how I walked and how I smiled. I don't think I had an authentic smile until I was in my mid-30s. I didn't smile an authentic smile until I was probably in my mid-30s, because I was so concerned about how I presented in the world. Right? I was so afraid of how I was going to be treated. The first thing I ever really wanted to be in my life was invisible. so that people wouldn't hurt me, so that I could just, I wasn't seen, so that people wouldn't hurt me. Right? That was one of my first wishes. So I created this entity in my head in order to help me learn to see the bullies before they saw me, so I could avoid them. Well, through my spiritual practice, this group and Yolanda and the Course in Miracles and, Andrew Harvey and Integral, going to seminary and really working these programs, having my own spiritual practice, chapter 31, the final, the final thing is having your own practice, having a your spirituality, not mine, not hers, not anybody's, but yours, what you'll do, right? So what I did through this practice of creating my own spirituality, I didn't need the bully anymore, because I was doing expression more than I was performing. Where I would perform Glen so he was safe, right? But I wasn't expressing the love of God within me, which is my authentic self, which is also like Glen, but the Glen, I don't know, big G Glen, like a little G Glen. I don't know how you would put that.
Yeah.
So, not long ago, a lot of that bully just fell away because out of not use, right? It became a dead thing. So after this conversation with Regina and talking with Yolanda and keep working with this concept, I saw, and I could walk around this entity that I had created that I thought was keeping me safe. This dead bully thing in my head. And when I did that, it just like rippled out. It was like, oh, that's what I see when I see people behaving badly on the street and I want to do something about it. Because I'm looking for I'm not looking. I still have the habit of looking for the bullies so I'm not hurt. It's not in here anymore. I'm acting it out of unconscious habit. That's what I found out. So this unconscious habit of seeing the world in a certain way, because I haven't examined the cause of this, I'm not looking for bullies anymore. I'm not looking for people to avoid people that could hurt me, right? Because what does the Course say? If I look for it, I find it. So I want to look for. I'm living in love and light.
Yeah.
Versus I'm living in the dark looking for light.
Oh, that's good.
I don't live in the dark. I live in the light, and I bring darkness so I feel safe. And that's upside down.
Right.
Because I am the light. I could see light in everyone and everything if I'm seeing truthfully. And when I see the dark, what I'm seeing is the darkness in my own head that is blocking out the light that's actually there.
Wow.
Right. So when I see darkness, I see my own denial of the sinlessness of my brother.
Yes.
Which is what I thought was.
That is a great realization. That deserves a bell. Yay!
So discovering that bully in my head was a really huge thing for me. Just absolutely huge. So
this goes right along with the next
right
thing that you've underlined. Goes right along with what you said just perfectly. It says, "Are you a sin?" ? Your answer, yes, whenever you attack. For by attack do you assert that you are guilty and must give as you deserve.
Right.
And how could murder bring you benefit?
Right, because that's the end result of all this.
She's very dramatic.
If you could squash it and make it disappear, make the other person, make the sin or the other thing disappear, so you wouldn't even have to deal with it. The logical conclusion of that is annihilation and murder, right?
Sins are in bodies. They are not perceived in minds. They are not seen as purposes, but actions. If you are sin, you are a body. A jailer does not follow orders, but enforces orders on the prisoner.
See, the jailer in your head. When you're enforcing how everybody else has got to be, you become the cop. You become the jailer. But you have to jail up your own self first, and that's what hurts, right? And you see other people acting in the same way, and that's not acceptable. So we attack. That was my method here. So she defines sin again. Sin is defined a lot in the Course of Miracles, but in chapter 31, she nails it down to a material existence. It requires a material component. What is sin? Sin are acts done in and by a body. Right? Because we know this because characters in novels and TV shows don't go to trial or anything like that. But bodies that create, negative actions often do have bodily consequences. That's how you know, right? Because we don't put a fictional character, because a fictional character is in our head. They don't sin, and we don't punish them or anything like that. But a body, a real person, requires that. So the sin or mistakes we often think can be forgiven in us, but they can't be forgiven in others. I'm mistaken, and and I can get over it, but you are awful and mean because you're doing the same thing, and I can change and grow and learn, and you cannot. You're a fixed thing. That's immutable. That's the physical, right? That's something you cannot change. It's also a lie.
Right.
Sin are the mistakes that can be forgiven in us, but cannot be forgiven in others. Sin is like an autonomous object that creates mindless acts and with questionable motives, she says. It's the autonomous physical thing. That's a lot of what horror is made out of. A doll that comes to life. Things like that. That's that this physical object is containing, something that, this evil or whatever. Sin locks the mind and consciousness in a body prison. She wants us to understand. This idea of sin and being broken and not being good enough, this I am bad belief, has a very definite physical, material component that locks our mind and our consciousness in what she calls a prison. And so we become our brothers and our bodies' jailer. Right? And we lock up our mind in this body prison. And we lock up your spirit in your body. I make you a body and not a person, not a member of the mind of God. You become a body in which I can lock up or dismember or use or not use or say is beautiful or hold up as well or whatever it is. It's a material component. And it's like tested and compare. It's always comparing with others, right? And comparing material objects. So sin has a material component. So it's this way we find what's the obstacle to peace. Thinking that material objects have agency. Like your body is telling you what to do, whether you telling the body what to do. And science is beginning to back up a lot of this stuff as well, especially when we know about the brain. A lot of the serotonin that's made in our body is actually made by our gut, is actually made in our stomachs, and not in our heads. So that feel-good chemical is a gut feeling.
How about those gut feelings? Wow.
So read the next bit.
Yet is the body prisoner and not the mind.
Yet is the body prisoner.
And not the
mind.
Learning is all that causes change.
I'm going to get that t-shirt. Learning is all that causes change.
For mind can learn, and there is all change made.
Mind can learn, and there all change is made. So change your mind. Change your mind. Look at it. That's it really says like
wow,
look at
that's
do that.
Power.
Do self inquiry. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
What is this? What's actually happening here? What am I feeling? What do I want to happen? And there's a physical component to it. There is how we feel about it, and there's a belief on the other side of that feeling, because the body doesn't have thoughts. The body doesn't have power. The body cannot learn, and the body doesn't have morals. Is not immoral or immoral. And the body cannot enslave itself. It needs an outside force to do it. It needs a mind, which says it's inside the body, but we're doing that paradigm thing where we're also inside and outside. We say, "Oh, I can't do anything. I'm this little broken body." But the big mind, Waheguru not Waheguru. Our unhealthy mind has dictated, has this overview, this worldview of us as a body that traps the mind. It's an outside force. We're creating an outside force to try to control an uncontrollable material existence, because the belief is that I can find happiness in a body. The solution is to cultivate a learning mind. That's why this whole chapter is about practicing with your own spiritual practice. Create a learning mind, a learning, growing, reflective, plastic mind in which you can grow and change quickly. You find out something new and you change, or you're willing to experiment and be curious and let go and try again.
And that's why self-inquiry is so valuable.
It can be. How are my choices and my outcomes linked? Can we look at the past and say, oh, well, I didn't like how that turned out. What happened? How was I feeling? What was going on? You know,
right.
Accurately, right? That's the part of the creative process. That's step 2. Step 1, what do I want? Step 2, where am I? And step 3 is the distance between those two.
Between the two, yeah.
And that's discovering the obstacles. That's the learning mind. Change is only made by learning by changing our minds. Yes. Change is only made by changing our minds. Changing the way we think, the default settings of how we think. So read this next bit.
Well, then it goes on to say, the mind that thinks it is a sin has but one purpose, that the body be the source of sin, to keep it in the prison house it chose and guards and holds itself at bay, a sleeping prisoner to the snarling dogs of hate and evil, sickness and attack, pain and age, grief and suffering. Sin cannot abide the joyous and the free.
I know.
Woo, that's so important. To be joyous and free then. Wow.
She's promising freedom. She's promising, the Course actually uses the word liberation. You know.
Yeah.
So when we're not doing this, she characterizes us as a sleeping prisoner. A sleeping prisoner. So how do we put our minds to sleep and imprison them in our bodies? How do we continually move into caring about the material effects versus the thoughts that change the world? This is an understanding of cause. Cause is in thought, not in material. Thought creates material and changes the material. You have to think of something before it exists.
That's right. That's true.
There are, all technology was thought before it was created. So we think it into existence, not the other way around.
I'm feeling so empowered right now.
So sin cannot abide the joyous and free. So the purpose of sin is to keep us focused on this mind, body, material, sleeping prisoner. I call it monitoring bodies through space. It's the body as a prison house, right? That has to be maintained and all kinds of stuff. Instead of expression, instead of the Regina has said this before, if we could let go, our bodies would learn to take care of themselves. In fact, they do very well taking care of themselves. We certainly don't have to learn how to digest our food, And she says the things that attack us are, think about these things in our mind, these snarling dogs as attack thoughts.
Oh, right.
In our own minds.
Right.
I'm sick. I'm bad. I'm aging. I'm grieving. I'm suffering. Right. As snarling dogs.
Yeah.
And this is that idea that there is no mercy for the sinful. Like if you're bad and you did the thing, then you must be punished. There's no outside force. I believe there's transformation here. It could be we could be transforming. The only way out of this paradigm is the destruction of the material. Right? It's death and murder. It's destroying ourselves and it's destroying others. And we do this. We destroy ourselves with addictions and all kinds of things. And our thoughts.
The I am bad belief.
The I am bad belief. And we destroy the world and others as well. But remember that the material world is our body. In the meta or the grand picture of the Course in Miracles, what is material is the body of God.
So let's move to the glad and the joyous.
Let's read this bit. We're about done.
Let us be glad that you will see what you believe. That's a great statement. Let us be glad that you will see what you believe, and that it has been given you to change what you believe. the body but will follow.
Yay.
You will not want to hold in guilt your chosen enemies, nor keep in chains to the illusion of a changing love the ones you think are friends. Do not keep people in chains. Open your mind to change, and there will be no ancient penalty exacted from your brother or yourself.
Remember the ancient hate that's falling away?
It's
This is
falling
the
away.
ancient penalties that goes with that.
It's falling away.
Overlearn this, she says. Overlearn this. You never hate your brother for his sins, but only for your own. And this is often how the condition of our bodies. You're obvious you're sinful because you're not shaped correctly. Or I'm not. It's like material existence doesn't look a certain way and it has a moral meaning to it. No. We will be what we will. You and I will see what we believe, always acting out in form. The body reflects what the mind believes. It's not actually a prison. The body reflects what the mind believes. But we could release our bodies from imprisonment and allow them to be the expression and art form that we've been given on this world, in which we have personal autonomy over. This is an art form.
Yeah.
Escape from the polarity of friends and enemies.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Right. Enemies being like the ones we want to imprison, people with sinful bodies. And we know, he goes, I love that Jessica Rabbit goes, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
I do remember
It's the same idea. We look at it, we think we know the morality of somebody or something or an object just because of its material, how I respond to my thoughts about its material existence.
Yeah, the way it looks.
And like friends aren't ones with a changing love.
Right.
They're the connection and the true value. There's be careful of friends with a changing with changing love. So the promise is we can release the world, and as it releases us, and vice versa. Release the world as it releases us. So remember that we can only sacrifice our bodies, and we can only sacrifice them to materiality, and that's within the paradigm of suffering. And we could see that we're doing it. We're the jailer on the outside of this paradigm, keeping all of it motion, all of it in place. We might say, no, I don't want to be the jailer, and just give up the jailer, and the whole thing disappears and the whole thing collapses. So with that in mind, kill the jailer in your head, or let it go. Let it go.
Yeah,
and you've been listening to Church with a 2-Drink Minimum with your favorite anarchist preacher. My name is Glen Ganaway, and I'm glad you're here.
Yay! Cheers.
I know.
Well,
tell us about this song.
Well, before we go, I'm going to share a song I've never shared with you before.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I know, and I don't really... One reason why I haven't shared it is because I haven't made a video for it. It's from an album a few albums back, my Reverend Yolanda's Country Gospel Kirtan Volume 2. And as you know a little bit about me... Hey, Cindy! So glad to see you! As you know a little bit more about me, you know how I like to take my... Christian church heritage and mix it up with different interfaith
70s rock gospel.
70s rock gospel, yes, true. Oh, Alexandra is offering her video editing services. Oh, okay. How exciting! I will. Okay, so this is my take on an old 70s song that you will know from the Doobie Brothers. I'll let you figure out which song that is.
Jesus is quite alright with me. Buddha is quite alright, oh yeah. Muhammad is quite alright with me. Abraham is alright. Well, I don't care what path you take. Every path leads to the same place. We're all children of God's grace, and all of it is alright. is alright. Krishna is quite alright with me. Shiva is quite alright, oh yeah. Ganesha is quite alright with me. All of it is alright. Well, I don't care what path you take. Every path leads to the same place. We're all children of God's grace, and all of it is alright, oh yeah. Mary, she's my friend. Gaia, she's my friend. Tara took me by the hand. Saraswati made me understand that the goddess, she is my friend. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop to the ocean. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's alright, 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 alright. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's alright, 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 alright. Jesus is quite alright with me. Science is quite alright, oh yeah. Atheist is alright with me. All of it is alright. I don't care what path you take. Every path leads to the same place. Living in sacred mysteries, grace, and all of it is alright. Oh yeah.
Yay!
All right.
The goddess!
All right.
She's my friend.
We're giving up the mic, y'all. Oh, that's another. Yeah, okay, there we go. Giving up the mic, y'all, and stand for Reverend Jacqueline, something genuine. Thank you so much, y'all.